Hey everybody, it's Doc. Welcome to the channel. So today we're going to be looking to the past a little bit. So as you can see behind me, there's my new 308 Ferrari, or new to me 308 Ferrari. And it got me thinking about some of the other Ferrari memorabilia that I have. So my dad was a big Ferrari guy. He had 4 Daytona Ferraris over his lifetime and a Buono Ferrari. He made several trips to the factory in Italy and picked up a couple of cars, even European delivery. So he was a collector of literature. And when he passed away in 2007, there was a ton of literature that he had. And you know how things go when someone dies, you really don't pay that much attention to this stuff until you kind of fumble over it later in life. And that's exactly what I'm doing, is we're kind of cleaning things out, and this Ferrari kind of spawned some interest in me in looking at some of the stuff that I had gotten from Dad. And to my surprise, I found that I had a series of brochures that he had picked up at one time or another, and I'll show you. These are the brochures we have to look at today, and as you can see, we have the Dino GT4 brochures. We have a 208, which has an interesting backstory, and the 308 GT4. These are the earliest of the brochures. We have a GT4 2+2 brochure here, which it's branded as Ferrari at that point, so that's a later model. And then we have the BB, the Berlinetta Boxer brochure, and then, of course, the Testarossa brochure, which you can see those lovely, very stereotypical strakes which defined the styling of the Testarossa. We'll take a look at the Dino stuff first. The earliest of the brochures would be this Dino 308 GT4 one, and opening it up, we have, well, a very cool picture of Enzo Ferrari, which is signed. I don't think he actually personally signed it. I'm sure that's what they called an auto pen at the time, but let's see if I can get that up there without any glare. Very cool, very majestic gentleman. And then also we have a list of all the dealers in the United States. And Dad bought his actually exclusively from Bill Hara, which was in Reno. And I thought it was in Vegas too, but apparently it's just in Reno according to the list there. But if you ever wondered who were the authorized dealers in probably 1970, 1974, somewhere around there. There you go. And they may not be dealers, they may just be service centers. I am not sure, to be exact. And then this is a really very cool brochure. First we have the little insert here with the Dino in a classic red. I've always liked these. I know there are a lot of people that really don't like the Dinos, and it's taking them some while to appreciate, but they're really kind of kicking up in value lately. And I just think it's a gorgeous car, you know, 2+2. Of course, you know, anything in Ferrari that's a 2+2 seems to pale in value compared to the two-seaters, just because that's the way Ferraris are. That may have changed, but correct me if I'm wrong. And by the way, throughout this whole brochure video series, I am far from an expert in anything Ferrari. So if you guys have little tidbits of information to throw in, or you want to correct me on something, please feel free. I won't be offended if you correct me in the comments. Matter of fact, I'd appreciate it a lot. So we have 2 languages here. I'm assuming one is Italian and the other one is English, of course. And you know, pretty Italian household there with the 308 there in front of it, which we're going to talk a little bit about. If it was in Italy, it probably wouldn't be a 308, it would be a 208. And we have a little bit of a trunk there. We got the V8 and the front end, and then we open this up. I had to redo this video because I got a lot of glare on the, on the camera from the very glossy brochures. And you know, like I said, again, just a beautiful style. I'm going to scoot over here so we can see the interior a little bit. Try not to glare it up. There we go. And very almost utilitarian sort of interior there. It's cloth and it's very attractive, but not something that you would kind of expect out of, you know, a car that probably, you know, dollar-wise today, even though they were the economical Ferrari, they were probably in the mid $40,000 range, I would imagine. And, you know, we're looking at something that today, you know, that's probably $150,000 today. If you guys know what they really cost, let me know. But I'm basing my statements on what I know about my 308 GTSI. So the pricing may be different. And then we'll take a look at the backside, which is very plain. So I was getting at the fact that with the 208, that would probably be the one that would be at an Italian household. And the reason for that is, and the only reason they made the 208 as far as I can tell, is the fact that Italy at the time had a very high tax on these cars in their own state if they were above 2 liters. So the 2.0 V8 GT Grand Touring car, and 4-seater, I'm guessing that's what the 4 is for. So that indicates that this was a 2-liter engine in this car, not a 3-liter. And again, it's very, very similar to the previous one that we looked at as far as we got the utilitarian interior, nice fold-out multi-language brochure with about the same pictures, and then some really, really nice pictures. Here they've put it in an airfield because nothing says sports car more than parking it in front of a plane, I guess. And then take a look at the back, which is very plain. Now you'll notice that we've got the Ferrari GT4 2+2, and initially they were sold as Dinos, but apparently people didn't want to pay the kind of money they were asking for a non-Ferrari car, so they eventually rebranded them as Ferraris. And this brochure has a little bit more of a matte appearance, and we've added another language, which I think is French. You guys can let me know about that in the comments. And then how do we open this up here? Oh, there we go. So it's a kind of a quad fold sort of situation here. Really pretty color. I love this. I've always loved this blue silver Ferrari color, and that looks really nice with the knockoff wheels. And then open it up. Got a little bit more of a look at the interior. This one's leather, which I think looks a lot better than the cloth. You can see that, you know, the radio is kind of in an awkward position. We've got the same switches that would have been in my dad's Daytona and that are also in my 308, with the little Bakelite switches and the little, I guess they're Bakelite as well, the little window switches. Maybe the windows work a little bit better in this car than they do mine. And then, of course, this, what I think is a fairly awkward driving position, the steering wheel that's cocked forward like you're driving a dump truck or something. I never loved that in Dad's Daytona. I've gotten used to it in my 308, but again, it's a really interesting setup. And then we pop down here. That's a really great angle with that car. I love that angle. And we'll open it up. A few more pictures. Of course, the classic Ferrari taillights. A little bit of an overhead view. And then the picture of the door, which you'll probably be very well accustomed to looking at the door as you're trying to help the window up and down if it's like my 308. And again, multi-languages, talks about the chassis. And basically, this car, it's my understanding, had the same platform as my 308. So they really didn't change the car that much when they went to the 308. They just changed the body and sold it as a bit more stylish of a vehicle. Then we move into the BB, the Berlinetta Boxer. This is a car I always loved, and this was not a car that was marketed at all in the United States. I don't think it actually ever came to the United States legally, only as gray market cars, and which makes me wonder where Dad got this brochure, unless he actually picked it up in Italy. But they wouldn't have had a lot of room to be hauling brochures around because there wasn't a lot of room in the Daytona. And again, another, Ferrari does blue so well. I don't know why red is their signature color, because look at that beautiful color. Now the early BBs are two-tone, whatever main color on the top and then black on the bottom. That's just a gorgeous angle to look at this car. And then there's the front angle, which that looks beautiful as well. And then we'll open up to sides here, try not to glare it out so you guys can see it well. This is the prettiest brochure of the bunch, I think. I really love where they took the pictures of the car at, and I love the fact that they interspersed a red, or that might even be orange, in with the blue car. But I mean, it just makes you want to go to Italy, buy a vintage BB and drive it around, which probably very few of us could afford to do. And there's the red one. It looks great in red. I know a lot of people ended up, readjust that there. A lot of people ended up doing a monotone, which I would agree. I think the car looks a lot better in monotone, but it looks beautiful the way it does too. I love the interior, very simple interior. I love the fact here that the ashtray is on the door sill as you're getting out, which is a really odd place to put it, but I guess maybe it's artistic in Ferrari's world. Looking at the steering wheel, that same cocked up garbage truck angle of a steering wheel. And cloth seats, interestingly enough. So that's kind of cool. And this one has knockoffs on it as well. And then we get to the informative part here. Again, 3 languages. I'm assuming one is French, one is Italian, one is English. And then there's all of our specs on the car with a top speed of 188 miles per hour. And then another picture there. And then, oddly enough, a very blank, nothing sheet. And looking at the back. So that's my favorite of the brochures. And then we'll bring out the Testarossa. And this is our final brochure. And this is the glossiest of all of them, so I hope it films well. But we've got the side strakes there. We open up to a nice view of the front of the car, and as we can see, I believe this is called a monoposto, if I'm correct, and I can't remember what legal reason they could only put one mirror on the Ferrari. I think there was a width issue in the United States, so there are not very many monopostos, because something changed later and they started putting 2 mirrors on the car. And then we got our little semi-opaque sheet there, and then we can see the car in full color with a little hidden Ferrari prancing stallion behind the sheet there. More pictures. I never loved the wheels on the Testarossa. I thought they should be deeper dish. As wide as that car is, you think that they would have had a deeper dish, wider wheel. But what do I know? Again, beautiful 80s side strakes there, which fed air to the radiators in the back and powered that red-headed V12. I really like the little touches of the prancing stallion there. And then that's a great picture. I wonder where that was taken, because that is just an absolutely beautiful, beautiful picture of this car, probably on the coast of Italy somewhere. And then this is a picture that was probably a really great idea that I didn't know that this brochure existed, because I would have had this ripped out and pinned up to my wall as a teenager. So because I loved this car. Always have. Not a whole lot of words in this brochure, just beautiful pictures, and they speak volumes. This is one of my favorite parts of pretty much all Ferraris, was the fitted leather luggage, and it actually really served a purpose, because as you can see, once we open this up, you can see that here they very specifically crammed it into the front of the car, and you almost think that there was probably a spare wheel there at some point, or there might be one underneath of it, I'm not sure. because I've never seen underneath the front bonnet of a Testarossa. And looking over here, you can see a couple of bags that are stuck behind the seats. So they made the most use of all the room in the car because it was a Grand Touring car, and you would have expected to want to take some of your stuff with you when you're doing a beautiful tour in this car. And then we get to basically the cutouts showing all the internals of the car, and we have, there's the engine in the car with the interior, and we've got, I'm assuming that's the transmission. What is that? Yeah, pretty sure. You guys will probably, maybe I'm an idiot. I'm pretty sure that's transmission, but it looks like oil pan too. I don't know. So you guys can tell me what that is. And we have the suspension. We have our beautiful red heads. And then flip that over. Look, we finally have some words here, and none of them are in English. So that's not useful at all. There's probably something coming up in English here. There we go. So we've got all the information. Let me line that up so you can look at that, of the chassis and the engine with the top speed of 180.2 miles per hour. So it's actually slower than the BB. And I think the BB was slower than the Daytona. So that's kind of funny that they were making cars that were slower than the previous cars. And then we got another semi-opaque little graph here, which I don't even know what that says. So again, you guys can tell me what the heck that graph is for. I'm assuming it's horsepower and torque, but God only knows. And that is the end. So I thank you guys for watching the video with me, and these are, some really fun brochures that I found laying around. I actually have a lot more brochures. So if you guys like this video, please let me know. I've got a lot more brochures from the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. Most of them are off-road stuff, but there's a lot of motorcycles as well. But who knows what I'll find if I start looking. So please, give us a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe if you like these videos so you can never miss one. You guys have a great day. We'll see you out there.